Lightening it up significantly now. Your weekend drinks could get a little bit more expensive as President Trump threatens a 200% tariff on the booze from the EU countries.
Cheryl Casone from our sister network Fox Business is here with the details. Good morning, Cheryl.
Delivering this story on a Friday. My apologies to everyone that was looking forward to their Friday evenings. So here's what President Trump posted about jumping 200% tariffs, placing 200% tariffs on everything coming out of the EU. Here's what he says. In part, the United States will shortly place a 200% tariff on all wines, champagnes, alcoholic products coming out of France and other EU represented countries. Now, Vice President J.D. Vance actually discussed tariffs with Laura Ingraham last night. Watch.
The European Union has in some ways been the worst on American workers and American industries of anybody. They're imposing ridiculous tariffs. They say that they're our most important ally. And of course, we care about European security, Laura, but they don't treat us like an ally when it comes to economics.
Well, the economics are pretty staggering. Just to let you know what a large industry this is. The United States spent on alcohol, this is 2023, thanks to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, we spent $169.9 billion on beer, $120.5 billion on spirits, $107.9 billion on wine. Now, one example that the Wall Street Journal gives us, which I think is interesting. So say a bottle of French champagne, Veuve Clicquot, it's a real popular one. You can pick it up at Costco. Not that I would know that. So anyway, yeah. So the importer pays $20 on the bottle. Well, that importer is now going to pay $60. So say that you go to your Costco or wherever you buy your champagne, it would be $50 retail. Now it's going to be $90 retail. So
almost double.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So Americans going to start making some different. If these go through, they may not. You know, we know how this is going with the tariffs right now. They're on, they're off, they're on, they're off. So
Hot tip: Rumbauer Chardonnay, made in California. It is absolutely delicious.
But to her point, I mean, I think that is the solution. Breaking news here on Fox and Friends First. We make alcohol in the United States, and a lot of it's really tasty. So just buy American until this is done. And if everybody does that collectively, that is going to help Trump. It's going to give him ammunition in this battle with all these other countries.
Yeah, well, we actually do consume, like, if you look at the market share for the U.S. wine industry, it's about, in 2024, we imported about 32%. So Americans are pretty good.
Yeah, think about all the
about consuming
the
domestic alcohol. Now, the governor of Kentucky, is he happy about this with the bourbon? No, he's not.
Yeah.
There's been a war of words between him and Doug Ford.
Yeah, Rand Paul was talking about that, about how this could impact his home state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, these are big businesses.
This is in response to the 50% tariff on American whiskey that the EU says that they were moving forward with. So you're right, trade war back and forth. We'll see where it goes.
This is a trade war. Yeah.
Rumbauer Chardonnay, though.
You were doubling down on that. Carly's buying for the entire nation. Don't miss Cheryl.
It's a little pricey, so maybe not the whole nation.
Mornings with Maria. Unclear whether or not they'll be drinking. You're just going to have to tune in to find out. With that, let us bring in Iowa Congressman Zach Nunn. And Zach, obviously we're having a little fun with this, but are your constituents upset at all by any of these tariffs, or do they view them as necessary for the future of our nation, for our prosperity going forward, for the futures of their kids and grandkids?
Morning, Todd. Morning, Carly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, here in Iowa, we have a situation where the Trump trade tariffs are winning. We were able to get more people sent back to places like Venezuela. I'm a military guy. We were able to get the Panama Canal opened up where we didn't have to send our warships through and pay a tariff on this. And working with our allies, we've been able to crack down on Chinese-made fentanyl that candidly has killed nearly 75,000 Americans in the last year alone. So Trump is focused on national security. He's focused on economic security. And there are areas where folks in Iowa are concerned about things like potash to make fertilizer, nitrogen, so farmers can make decisions on how they're going to be able to plant this coming spring so that we have a great harvest in the fall. But being made in America is a great opportunity for us to foster what, Todd, you already highlighted. We've got a great home-based industry. Let's help cultivate that going into the summer.
Well, Congressman, when it comes to what's going on Capitol Hill, Democrats are going to need a drink. Because here's how Axios describes it. House Democrats erupted into apoplexy Thursday night after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said he would support Republicans' stopgap government funding measure. Here is an example of that apoplexy.
I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party.
Senate Democrats should do the same thing House Democrats did, which is fight for our constituents and block this bill.
Democratic senators should stick together because they need 8 if Rand Paul stays. And so the work we've been doing today is working with our Senate colleagues to help make sure that people do that.
And one anonymous member told Axios that House Democrats went into complete and utter meltdown on all text change. So despite the fact that Senator Schumer's getting backlash here, and a lot of it, he says that he does have enough Senate Democrat votes to break the filibuster and make sure that the government doesn't shut down. So is he doing the right thing here?
Well, Carly, you just hate to see Democrats melting down over each other with no real plan on how to go forward. Look, shiftless Schumer is now taking a situation where just yesterday he was saying a Schumer shutdown was the only way to hold Trump accountable, to now we've seen complete Schumer surrender. They've got no plan going forward, and he didn't want to be on the hook for doing what House Republicans led the charge on. I hate CRs, but I want to make sure our military troops are paid, our border is secure, and we can march forward. Look, President Trump's only been at the helm for 6 weeks here, and he's been able to accomplish some really impressive things. We've also heard from House Democrats who candidly said that they don't have a plan going forward. This is a direct reflection of this Schumer surrender with no idea on how to hold their own members accountable and no better plan going forward. In fact, House Democrats have even said they've overstated the situation and that it's more important we have a government that is functioning as Republicans led in the House. I look forward to being able to see the Senate pass the same thing through, even if Senate Democrats have to go ahead and hide in the cloakroom so they don't have to take a filibuster discussion on this, and we can move this forward.
We will see tonight. Meantime, failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz is holding town halls in GOP districts, starting with your district today. Here he is on The Visit.
Look, I own this. We wouldn't be in this mess if we'd have won the election. And we didn't. We have to make sure that Americans know it's not just that Donald Trump is bad, but we're offering them something better. And I think that's what we need to work on. I'm going to go out there and make sure that those folks down in Iowa know that their rep doesn't want to come talk to him, but he voted for this stuff. He voted to defund these things.
He calls you out there, Congressman. What's your response? About 30 seconds to you.
Look at here. Look, the American people had a great town hall. It was called The Election. We won by 15,000 votes. President Trump won by 13%. If, sadly, Tampon Tim wants to come down to Iowa and complain about it, we've already been able to show that we've got 300 different town halls and hundreds of thousands of Iowans who've been touched by this. The Democrats are flailing. And if this is the guy who is the standard bearer leaving Minnesota when they have a budget deficit, here in Iowa, we cut taxes 3 times. We grew our budget. We're doing the same in Washington, D.C. I've got not only constituents that support this, but we're going to be in the crosshairs for what Democrats are already looking at, an attempt to steal back the House. I'm asking for help, ZachNunn.com. Let's make sure Democrats know that Iowa will not be bought out by some failed vice presidential candidate trying to reboot for his presidential run, starting here in Iowa, a place where we kicked butt and candidly sent Trump to the White House and held on to one of the most competitive seats in the country. Mine right here. Proud to serve Iowa. Guys, thanks so much this morning.
Yeah, we had a great town hall. It's called The Election. I wrote that one down.
I'm going to steal that.
Congressman Nunn, thank you so much for joining us with the response there as well. Have a great day.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.